Are you wanting to break into B2B sales, or are you wanting to upgrade your role into an even better high-paying sales role? Hey, I'm Marcus Chan, founder of Six Figure Sales Academy, in which we help B2B sales professionals earn an additional $50,000 to $100,000 more every single year. And those two questions I get are the most common questions I get for B2B sales. And it makes a lot of sense, because if you're wanting to break into B2B sales, or if you want to get a better opportunity, you know about the allure of sales, the potential for high earnings, the potential for freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, and really being able to enjoy helping people as well. So it makes perfect sense on why so many people want to break into sales, whether it's tech sales, like software, to consulting, to any other type of sales process out there as well. So I'm excited to share with you today a live training I actually did in front of my private Facebook community of over 3,500 sales professionals. And inside there, I break down the A to Z on how to land your next dream sales role in less than 90 days. And this is even without any sales experience and without sending out thousands of applications. And I'll tell you right now, those who have watched, consumed, and done this training exactly as I teach it in here have seen some pretty insane results from it, from getting amazing offers within 90 days to some people even getting offers to awesome high-paying software tech roles just a few days, literally less than 5 days. So if that's of interest to you, grab a notepad, grab a pen, let's go ahead and dive in. This training is it's designed to really help you out if you are looking to get a new job, or maybe you don't have a job right now. So either way, it's designed to help you. It's going to be the A to Z on how to land your dream sales role in less than 90 days without sending out literally hundreds of applications. All right. And really, it's how to stand out in a competitive job market from someone who's actually I've literally interviewed over 2,000 plus candidates over the last decade. Okay. So my goal for this training is I'm going to hold nothing back. I'm going to give you lots of massive value so you can go out there. And if you are in the market to secure your dream job, or maybe you're happy, you want to get a better job, whatever it's going to be, is to help you secure it as fast as possible. That is the goal of this training right now. So, and yes, for sure, obviously, I want to be your sales coach to help you crush it in the role when you start, or even sooner if you're an action taker. Now, let's make sure you're supposed to be on if this is going to make sense for you to spend your time with. Number one, this is for people or sales professionals who really want to secure more interviews with their dream companies, that you want to have maybe probably a better life, secure a better job, or a better career. That's who it's for. Now, who is this not for? I mean, if you have an ego, you're not willing to try new things, and you're full of excuses, you're not an action taker, obviously it's going to be a waste of your time to be on here. So just stop watching at that point. That's going to be you, right? So that's my normal go-to for all these trains. But let's keep going. All right, so here's what I'm going to cover. I'm going to cover a lot of things today. I'm going to cover the best way to secure your dream sales role. We'll talk about the truth about the ATS, or these application systems, aka the mistake that most make when job hunting. We're also going to go through what hiring managers really want and what scares them. And we'll go through step by step, literally step by step, that you can follow after you watch this training on how to optimize your profile to fit the hiring avatar, social media cleanup, the Dream 25 list, the reactive approach to finding a job, the proactive approach to finding a job, the follow-up sequence, preparing for the interview like a boss, running the actual interview, and post-interview. So this is going to be very, very robust. I'll tell you right now, what I'm going to go through today, literally people will pay literally thousands of dollars for with other career coaches just to get this specific help right here that you're going to get completely free. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Now, also, since this is live right now on Facebook, if you're watching this live, go ahead and comment #live. This helps drive the algorithm so more people see it. And of course, if you're watching replay, type in #replay. Also, this guide right here you see, excuse me, is very, very robust. So if you want to copy this guide, just comment guide below, and my team will direct message it to you. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about the best way to secure and also keep your dream sales role. And here's the thing. The absolute best way, first off, before we go into anything, is really excel in your current role. And that's regardless of circumstances. And here's why this is so important. When you are excelling in your current role, this gives you more negotiation power and leverage on future compensation. So when you go after that target dream job, when you are shown you're really excelling, it allows you to have more negotiating power. And typically, applicants that are applying are usually viewed, let's be real, they're usually viewed in a different light than someone who has a job is already excelling. So if you don't have a job and you're applying versus someone who has a job and they're getting interviewed, there is a different perception, right? And obviously sometimes you can't control because, things happen. Maybe you got let go because of the pandemic or whatever. But that's just a reality. This is why this training is so important. Also, this shows you can excel regardless. So whatever, even if you're not in a great situation, it shows you can really excel in the current role that you're in. What's also really important to understand is this. Your sales sins follow you everywhere you go. So anything you really struggle with that has nothing to do with the job, but actually it's you yourself you are struggling with, say, for example, maybe you're not good with follow-up or prospecting, that's going to follow you in the new role if that role requires it. So understand that. And a long time ago, a mentor, he asked me, he said, hey, because I want to get promoted, he's like, are you running away from something or towards something? All right, I'm gonna say it again. Are you running away from something or are you working towards something? Which is very, very different in understanding that concept right there. So for example, if you are not a great BDR, a business development rep, and you really want to be an account executive in AE, and you find an AE job somewhere else, let's just say you get that job, awesome. But if you can't prospect well, it's going to hurt you still. And I've seen this across the board from every single level, whether it's AE to manager, manager to director, VP, CRO, etc. Because once you're in the role, after you secure that dream job, you do want to keep it. That's really important, right? You don't want to just be that person who gets a new job every year, year and a half, because unfortunately, you can't produce the results that's required to keep that job. So also, the best companies and recruiters they're typically proactively recruiting people with existing jobs at the target list of companies they go after. All right, so I came from a couple of big logos such as Enterprise Rent-A-Car, or Enterprise Holdings now, and Cintas Corporation. And there were specific recruiters that would target those companies because they want to find top performers at those companies, or people that used to work there for a long time and then went somewhere else. So they're usually proactively searching for these people, and that's what they're looking for. Just so you know, that's what happens. This is actually why if you use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, there's actually a recruiter function. It basically works the same way as Sales Nav, but for recruiting people, and they target people that are in these ideal roles. So when you are in those roles, it's key to truly perform. Now, moral of the story is really this: excel in your current role and invest in yourself to get yourself to make yourself super good and really marketable. Because the more marketable you are, the better you're going to be. Okay. So next, let's talk about the truth about these ATS or application systems. Okay, and this is a mistake many people make when job hunting. So here's reality: most people, what they don't realize is with these ATS systems, a lot of them have automatic filters. So you apply, you actually get pre-screened based off certain responses you have. So your resume, your information may not even get seen by that person or by the hiring manager or by that company. You might just get automatically pre-filtered out, and you might get an auto message that says, hey, sorry, we went with somebody else. Sorry, we went a different direction. And that's automatic, okay? And what happens is, everything looks the same. It's like a sea of sameness. There's real no differentiation. And good companies get hundreds of applicants daily. So for example, in my last leadership role, before I started my company, I knew once I opened up a job requisition, I would literally get hundreds of applications daily. Hundreds. I literally didn't have enough time to look through all of them. So the pre-filters process would screen through all of them. And this is for a majority of companies. They have the same thing, right? And only certain ones are going to pop to the top, right? So, but again, it's still going to be pre-filtered through. So the big mistake is this: if you are looking for a job, whether you have one or not, the big mistake is this: sending in applications everywhere and hoping for a call. This is why it's actually not a good strategy to say, you know what, okay, every day I'm going to apply to 5 or 10 new places every single day. Because the truth is, if you're getting pre-screened or pre-filtered before you get to that point, you may not have even the opportunity to be able to interview and get that role. So, and that's generally speaking, of course, right? Sometimes you'll still get lucky. They'll pull you aside and see it, but for the most part, you'll get pre-screened. That's just reality. So here's a second big mistake to be really aware of. Now, some people think I'm just going to network and get the job I want, and that's the fastest way. This definitely can be true if you have a really strong network. But most people do not. So most people start trying to network when they don't have a job or they're trying to get a better job, right? So you are limited. Now, you can definitely start immediately networking for sure, but just remember, networking takes time because you are nurturing relationships. Because if you go to someone that has a really good network and they know a lot of hiring managers, if you go up and say, hey, can you just, they don't know who you are, and you say, hey, can you just help me get a job? Well, they don't know you, that they don't want to help you. Okay, they're not going to want to help you. So it's definitely a good strategy, but should not be a primary strategy. So I do recommend, if you are networking, even if you have a good network, do in conjunction with everything else I'm going to be showing you. Because if your network is not, they're not able to help you get to the companies you want to go work for, then you are going to be a little bit limited. Okay. So next, let's talk about what hiring managers really want and what scares them. All right. So here, when you really boil it down, all hiring managers, all they really want are really two primary things. I'm oversimplifying a little bit, but just so you get the point. Number one, they want to know the person that they're going to hire, whether it's you or anybody else, they're really solid, and they're going to get a really solid or really great return. Meaning, you are going to be awesome at the job. You're going to over-deliver on whatever that role is going to be, whether it is as a BDR, an account executive, a sales leader, or VP, whatever. They want to know you're going to be able to deliver on what you're saying you can do and what you've done in the past. That's number one. Number two, they want little to zero risk, that they're, that you're not going to, quit on them, be high maintenance, fill with drama, bring them issues, or not be able to perform. So ultimately, it's just like investing. They want to make sure they get a highest return and lowest risk. That's really it. That's what it boils down to for any hiring manager. Like, they don't want more problems. They want someone who can come in there and crush it. And that's why they're bringing someone in. Otherwise, they would do it themselves. So therefore, when you understand that, before, during, and after the interview process, you must prove these two things above. All right? And here's the thing. If you can make the hiring manager believe, or managers, if you interview multiple people within that process, or the hiring chain, if you can make them believe that you can provide the greatest return and the lowest risk, they will have no choice but to make you an offer. All right. And I've seen before, even though have roles available, they will eventually find a way to get you to that company because they know they see you of value. Because one of the things is, this is true from you talk to any leader, one of the hardest parts of a sales leader's job is finding and recruiting top talent. That's the absolute hardest thing. This is for whether it's sales, ops, or anything, but the hardest part of a leader's job is finding and recruiting top talent. Okay, so now we have the foundation set right there. Let's dive into how do you actually go about doing it. So let's go step by step. So what's important to understand is when you think about an interview and finding a job, it's very much exactly like prospecting and closing. Like, how you prospect and close is how you find a job and secure it. So for example, in sales, this is obviously very simple. In sales, you prospect, you book meetings, you show value, you close a deal. All right, obviously there's multiple meetings, but you get my point, right? So job hunting, you prospect, you book interviews, you show value, and you secure the job. And that could be a six-figure job, multiple six-figure job, etc. So it's the same. And especially if you are interviewing and looking for a high potential sales role, they will judge you on how you are running the process, because that's what you're going to do. If you think about this, you are ultimately closing a deal is all you're doing, okay? So step one, the first thing you want to do is you want to optimize your profile to fit the hiring avatar. And what you want to think about is, you identify what is a company looking for as an IEP. So you probably heard of ICP, ideal customer profile, but how about their ideal employee profile? What does that person look like? Characteristics, results, the personality, whatever. Really, really important. You want to uncover that. Okay. Number two, your LinkedIn now must match that from top to bottom. This is your profile. From top to bottom, it must match that. And you really want to focus on results and not responsibilities. That's a mistake I see a lot of people's profiles is they're focused on, hey, at this job, I was doing X number of dials, this many presentations, this many demos. That can be relevant to a certain extent, but they care more about what did you do? What was the results from those things? Because you can have the greatest activity in the world, but if you can't deliver the results, they really don't care. So what type of results do you get from that? Okay. And you want to think about your profile is your sales page. It's one of the first things they will look at. So it must really sell to your future hiring manager. So, for example, if I'll pull my profile right here, just a couple things to point out, right? I mean, I'm not looking for a job, but let me just show you this. So it's everything from from your headshot. Does your headshot match the IEP? Does your banner match the IEP? Now, if you have a current job right now, you obviously don't want to change that, right? You can have something a little more generic, but it looks professional still, okay? Your thing up here, does it capture attention, capture whatever? Do you do anything in your featured section? How about your, your about section right here? What type of stuff is in your about section? Is it about you? Is it enticing? Does it tell a story about how you can really deliver and be able to be a top performer, right? Again, with the job history, is it like what you've done or is it results, right? Is it results? So you can see if I was looking for a job, people are like, oh man, this is what you did at this company? Okay, cool. Again, this is what you want to have. So, focus on results. Now you can definitely have some responsibility, but if you notice here, I have responsibility and a lot of results. But again, I'm not looking for a job. So you get the point. Obviously, if you have recommendations, that can be really, really powerful as well. Okay, so you get the point. This is your sales page. This is your sales page. All right. Now, something to keep in mind as well, and this can go into the next section. Okay, social media cleanup, number 2. So you want to make sure you clean all your profiles up. So even if on your LinkedIn, let's just say, for example, if you are posting anything that's, I don't want to say weird, if it's, I don't call it not appropriate, but you are getting judged. So they will take a look at everything you're posting and what you're all about. So are you posting things that are cool and really create the IEP image that they are looking for? And you want to make sure from there, that's what you make sure to tweak. So if you delete anything that could potentially be misunderstood or misread, right? And then also go into your other profile, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, because if they Google you or look you up, what will they see? Does it match the IEP that they want? And I know it's not going to be perfect, right? I know it's people are like, oh, it's my personal page. I can do what I want. I totally get that. I'm not saying you can't do that. My point is you will be Googled. You will be looked up. And depending on what they find, they will create perceptions about you that may or may not impact you get interviewed or not. So it's important to understand that. On top of that, when they see some stuff, if they see things that are kind of strange or odd, those can be potential future objections. So you want to eliminate those. All right. So you do yourself a favor, right? Or make everything private, or some people just delete their profiles, whatever. So next, so now we're getting super granular here. Next, you want to create, what I call a Dream 25 list, or you can have a Dream 50 or whatever. And really, what these are the Dream 25 or 50 companies you want to work for. You can have more, you can have less. It's entirely up to you. But the point is, they're your dream companies you want to work for. Okay, really, really important. And you can use a CRM, or you can just have a simple Google sheet, right? You just map them all out, right? One column, boom, all those companies, right? And what you want to also understand as well, you want to have some objective criteria in your mind. So sometimes people get really attracted by a big logo, but you want to make sure they fit the criteria. It's really important to you. The mistake I see some people make is they chase a big logo because they believe they'll be happy once they're there. But once they get there, they realize there are certain things they just don't like. So for example, like when you work for a big logo, typically there's way more restrictions, more red tape, there's more hoops you have to jump through to get anything done. Smaller companies are a little more nimble. That's just the reality of it. You may or may not like that. So you want to really break down, imagine if you were to work there for the rest of your life, what's the criteria you want to have for that company? Doesn't mean you'll stay there forever, but if you start thinking that way, it will increase your chance for your longevity with that company. And when you have longevity with the company, it allows you to have more success at compounding each other and build a great reputation. So that's really, really important. Okay. So have that list first. Okay. So next, now that you have a list, now we can talk about the reactive approach, which is really you are now going to be looking for open territories or positions that potentially could be opportunities for you. So for example, let's take a look here. So, you can definitely go, you look for open jobs. So for example, you can go to LinkedIn jobs, Okay, you can go to the company websites of the Dream 25, see if they have, a career section where you can apply, or you can go places like, jobs.revgenius.com, right? And there's many, many more places, right? And these companies have an immediate need, right? Like literally, that means they have an open requisition, open territory where they have open headcount. They are actively looking to bring someone in, which means they have a need. This is going to be probably the lowest hanging fruit right there, all right? And what you want to do, and I'm going to show you in a second, is instead of just applying, we're going to go capture some attention first. So we're going to reverse search the potential hiring manager on LinkedIn. We're going to build familiarity with them, and then send a highly personalized connection request, and then send them a video message. All right. So again, notice here, this is what most people are not doing. This is going to stand out right there. I talked to many sales leaders. I talked to one of my buddies, who's a very well-known sales leader on LinkedIn space, and he told me in one of his last requisitions he had posted on LinkedIn, he had over 100 people apply. Out of the 100, only 3 people sent a video message. And guess who the first 3 people he brought into interview first were? The people that stood out. Right. So this is why it's very powerful. OK, and your goal really here is to open the conversation. Again, you didn't apply first. You're capturing attention. Right. And then, of course, assuming the conversation goes really, really well and they say, hey, listen, we really liked you. Go ahead and apply. Beautiful. Now apply the requisition because the conversation is good. So they are on the lookout for you. You just broke through the noise of the applicants. So let me show you an example here. So say for example here, move this down a little bit so I can see this. So I'm on just the sales jobs role right here, right, for RevGenius. This is, if you're not part of RevGenius, it's a great free community. So for example, let's just say if I want to be this founding account executive, I want to apply for this role at Prelay. You take a look here, and sometimes if you're a little bit lucky, sometimes it'll tell you who the hiring manager is. Not always, but you can go through here, and this is telling you what's important to them. Just so you know, they literally these are what is important to them. We want people to show us they have these things. Okay. That's really powerful. They want strategic thinking. They can handle complex problems. They can thrive under ambiguity, right? Intellectually curious, high ambition, growth mindset, experience selling sales technology, right? This is what you're going to do. So this starts telling you, okay, cool. Like if I'm going to go after this Prelay role, I want to make sure my profile is optimized to be someone like their IEP. Now you can have some more general ones that go across the board because some of these are across the board going to be important anyways. Okay, so boom. So first off, you got that. So next, what you want to do is this. So then let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go to let's take a look. We're going to reverse search them, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at Prelay as a company. So I'm just on LinkedIn here. We'll look at Prelay, and our goal here, like I mentioned, is we want to reverse search the potential hiring manager. So we go here, and you take a look here, and you just go to people. All right, take a look. Now, you could search by title for the bigger company, so you can have some good guesses. So, for example, if you are an account executive and you probably report to a director of sales, you can look up director, see what shows up, right? But this company has 250 followers. I'm kind of scroll down a little bit, right? And you can take a look here, like, I don't see, you can keep scrolling down, see if there's a sales director or a VP of sales. And they may or may not have it, right? You can go a little bit deeper, right? We're not going to take time to search through, but you get my point. But, take a look. Oh, boom, you know what? Like, look, the CEO here at Gabriella, she's literally says we're hiring. That's really good. The co-founder, Enoch, same thing. Okay? So before we just fire up a connection request, you just go ahead, you just take a look. Let's open up a new tab. Let's look up Gabriella. Let's look up Enoch. Whoa. Quick timeout so far. We have covered a lot of content, and hopefully you are seeing just amazing value. And if you are, I have one very simple ask, is just make sure, of course, if you have not done so yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button on here so I know you get tons of value in this trading so far. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. And you start going through. Okay. Look at this. Look at this. She's talking about how she's an Olympic trials hopeful and competitive D1 cross-country track athlete. Pretty awesome. Look at all leg surgeries, right? Okay, that's not cool for sure, but that's very interesting to look at. We can watch this video, but now you're gonna prospect her, right? You're gonna prospect her. Let's take a look at what she's done. Pretty cool. Backed by top-tier investors. Let's take a look. See all activity, and you can build a little bit of familiarity. Oh, look, she literally posted something 7 minutes ago. And what can you do to build some familiarity? Immediately engage and drop a really, really impactful comment on there. Okay? Again, if you watch in my LinkedIn training or anything else, you want to make sure it's going to stand out and capture some attention here. All right? So you can like it, you can engage with it, right? And then from there, do you send her a connection request? All right? So you can read through this. You can tie it to something along the lines, or you can talk about her learnings here, right? You can talk about whatever. You could do whatever. I mean, you get my point here. We can go back here. You can talk about the D1 thing, but your goal is that personalization is really clearly you're breaking through the noise. That's really the goal. And in this situation, even though since we're hiring, your personalization note does not have to say, hey, I noticed you're hiring. I'll just avoid that because that's very me focused. Focus on them. All right. You can just take a look. If it was Enoch, right, you probably want to do something similar for both. Okay. Okay. You take a look. You can read through the same thing. He loves rock climbing, cooking recipes at home. All right. Boom. You can see more about what he's all about, his activity. Okay. He put a job posting there, right? So you can engage some of this. Again, you are building some familiarity with them. So then after you connect with them, you send them a video message. It's, make sure, obviously, good lighting. It's professional. You are personal to them, about 30 seconds long. And just your goal is just to open a conversation. So you can definitely reference something about them. So for example, if it's, Gabriella, it might sound something like, hey, Gabriella, hey, Marcus Jan here. I just want to send you a quick note, say thanks so much for connecting. I saw the post you did, earlier today. I was so impressed with how much you've grown your company over the last year, which is really, really cool. On top of that, I saw you were you're huge in track. You were really successsful. I actually was huge in track as well. Not as good as you. I went to D2 school for that, but really, really happy to connect. Boom. That's it. See what happens, right? Now, if you have a little more time, a little bit lengthier one, you could also go, hey, listen, so I also noticed that you guys have a position that's open right now. I would love to learn a little bit more if you're open to have a quick, quick coffee chat about that. If you're open, just let me know. Boom. Again, you're standing out, good lighting, everything, and your goal is just to capture a little bit of interest and open it up. All right. So that's very powerful. Now, here's reality. If they have open territories and positions, they're going to be like, wow, you just stood out. Okay. So again, do not apply. Do that first. All right. That's the first thing. Now, let's talk about the proactive approach. This is really going to be, maybe they don't have job postings for the roles you're looking for, whatever, but you're going to do a similar approach, but you start by targeting the specific companies on the Dream 25. And you can start reverse searching the potential hiring manager. Same thing we just did, literally the same thing we just did, but now instead of having an open rec to base it off of, you just go after a specific company. So maybe, for example, you're like, what, I heard great things about Kartra. I'm going to go check them out. Boom. And you start looking for who the sales director is or VP of sales, and you do the same thing I just mentioned. All right. And your goal is just to open a conversation. And that's really it. Again, build familiarity, highly personalized requests, send a video, and open the conversation again. All right. So this is more proactive. You don't find a job. It's open. This is more reactive. They have an active need. So now you just want to capture the attention. Okay. So now what's also important to understand too, you must also have a follow-up sequence, because yes, I would love to say, yeah, you send a video message, 100% to respond back to you. Not always. Right. And what you want to do is, I'm going to close these out so we'll get all these notifications. You also understand is like how you follow up shows how you prospect. Really important. And if that role requires, prospecting, which, even if it's an AE role, even in a closing role, you should prospect regardless. That's a different topic. But you do want to have some sort of cadence that you are following, so you are not just like send a video message and then just kind of sit back and hope. People are busy, right? They might see it and forget. It is what it is. So you want to, again, break through the noise. So for example, here's just an example cadence. And I'm not saying you have to do just as cadence. This is an example on what else you can do. So for example, you go in, comment and engage on the hiring manager's post, or potential hiring manager. You send the personalized connection request, like I mentioned. You send a video message on the first outreach. And then, give a little time. Don't do this all on the same day. You wait a little time, right? Maybe a couple days. Then you can call them. You literally call them, right? Call them, drive towards an informational interview. You could then scrape the email off LinkedIn Sales Navigator and also email them. Then you mix an engagement on any post that they're doing. And then you follow up with a LinkedIn direct message, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you get my point. So now they're like, wow, this person's like everywhere, right? They really want this job. They are standing out. Just by doing that, you're already going to break through the noise. Like, number one, most people are not sending video messages. Number two, most people are just applying, just sitting back, right? And number three, now you're actually showing you actually truly care and you've done your homework. Very, very important. This is how you stand out. Okay, next. So now once you secure that interview, what do you do in the interview, right? And at this point, it's yours to lose. Okay, that interview is yours to lose, right? So you can win the interviews, but you can't just show up and just hope for that, right? So let's talk about some strategy here. So number one, some of the stuff may seem really obvious, but I had to point it out because not everyone does this, because I've looked at thousands of interviews, and it's shocking how many people do not do these things. So number one, do your research. Research the company. Research the people. Research the leadership. Look at the financials. Look at press releases. Look at reviews, etc., etc., etc. Right? You gotta imagine this is an investment for you, for that company. You might be working there for several years. This could be an opportunity for you to be literally. If you think about this, let's just say you've had the great company you worked for at least 5 years, and you know it's a $200K plus opportunity, right? 5 years times $200K, that's $1 million opportunity that you're actually looking to secure. So do some research. Don't just wing it, okay? Do the research and show up with that, right? Number two, this is really, really important. You want to map out all potential objections to you. Remember, when they say no to you, they're rejecting literally you. Sounds terrible. They are rejecting you. So what are potential objections or things they're going to see as red flags? This could be anything from your past. Is it like, do you not have good results? Is it maybe you job hopped? Is it maybe you made some bad decisions, worked for some bad companies, didn't really work out? What is it exactly? What are things that a hiring manager is going to say, wow, I'm not sure. Now, if you have been interviewing, you may have heard some of these objections already. They may have questioned you in the interview, and you should be paying very close attention, because the most common ones are going to be the objections they have to hiring. That's all it. Those are literally objections to hiring you. So you want to understand, what those are. And then number two, you want to map out how will you respond to those objections? How will you overcome those objections? Now, it's important you are not defensive in your responses, because sometimes there's legit things that just happen. Like, for example, like if you had someone that was really like, I'll give you an example. So I remember interviewing someone, and they had about a 2-year gap on the resume. And when I started to dive in deep, because that was a concern of mine, they were transparent. They say, hey, my mom got really sick. I literally just stayed and took care of her. So I was doing side hustle stuff to make money, and I was taking care of her. That's what it was. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Beautiful. And obviously, your ability to convey authenticity and trust in how you explain it's really, really important. Let's see, the next one. This is if you want to take it next level, right? It doesn't mean you have to have it printed out ready to go, but mentally, at the very least, what will you do if you got that role? What would you do for 30, 60, 90 days? Start mentally mapping that out. Based off the research you've already done, what would you do? Because if you get asked a specific question of what you're going to do, are you going to be able to articulate in a way that makes sense to them? So like, wow, clearly we should hire this person. They've already thought through all these things. They're already anticipating the future. And that's incredibly powerful. The next one is you also want to make sure, this is like, you get bonus points for doing this. So you picture this. They may have multiple interviews, especially if it's an open requisition, and everyone does the same thing, right? They show up to the interview, they do the interview. What if the day before you went and sent a video email to them the day before? Okay, and here's what I mean. It's not just any regular video email, but what you also do is you put together a brag book. If you don't know what a brag book is going to be a book of, it could be awards, certificates, recommendation letters, reference letters, shout notes, kudos, pictures of trophies, award strips, things that basically say, hey, I'm awesome, and here's proof. Here's proof of that. Now, most people have a physical version of that. Make sure you have a PDF, or just scan all those things into one single document and make it clean, make it look professional, right? So this way, when they're looking through it, they're like, wow, this is incredible. Like, this is so much proof that you're clearly awesome. You're not just talking a big game, you're legit. So send that with the resume together the day before in a video email. So imagine this. Like, they're sitting there to get all his applications, whatever. They have interviews. Maybe you stood out right. Like, okay, this person's pretty cool. They kind of stood out. They made some contact. Great. And then the day before, they get an email from me that says, hey, you know what? Hey, Marcus Chan here. I just want to tell you, Gabrielle, I'm really excited for tomorrow. And in preparation for our meeting tomorrow, I put together a couple things that might help you as well for the interview. Number one, I made sure my resume is in here as well for you. It's really easy. Number two, here's also a copy of my brag book. Inside there, you will see 28 different recommendation letters from past employers. You'll see you'll see award strips. You'll see proof, rankings, everything that shows you exactly what I've actually done over the last 5 years, 10 years, etc. So looking forward to chatting these super soon. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Boom. Then they get that and they're like, wow, not only are they over delivering before they even start, this is probably how they sell in a prospect, in a prospecting situation. So that's very powerful because no one's doing that, okay? So next, now you're running the interview. And obviously there's more things you can do as well, but that's a good way just to stand out. Next, running the interview. So a lot of times, and I've done a lot of interviews, a lot of times people's responses are very general, which makes the hiring manager believe or think they don't know what they're talking about or they're trying to BS their way through. So you want to be incredibly descriptive and explicit in your response. And you really want to ideally give them a specific example of every question. So the issue I see a lot of times, they say, hey, tell me about your work ethic. And people say, oh, I'm a really hard worker. I work really hard. I work a lot of hours. Okay, well, all right, that's fine. Give an example. What's a specific example that really displays your work ethic? So this is what you want to do. So for example, you might say, okay, you know what? Hey, I'm really glad you asked. You know what? I have been known for my work ethic. So to give you a really good example, this is even, this is a few years ago. I was working full time, about 60 plus hours a week. I had a small team of 6 people that was underneath me. I worked a lot of hours for that, right? We were over delivering with #1 in the country. We were doing all these great results and awards. But in addition to that, while I did that, I simultaneously got my MBA as well, which is additional 40 plus hours a week full time. So I worked full time, got my MBA full time as well. In addition to all that as well, that same couple years, I also went and bought a house, planned a wedding, and got married as well. So I do work hard because I'm very focused, and I'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. Does that answer your question? Boom. That's a very specific example. That's pretty clear. Okay, this guy works hard. So, and this is for anything. So anytime they ask you about anything, give a specific example. Hey, are you good at selling large accounts? Yeah, I am. Don't just say give a really specific example of a deal that you're able to close. All right. And the way to think about this, which might be good or bad depending on how you think about it, but just imagine you are guilty until proven innocent. You are guilty of not doing it until you're proving yourself innocent. So you want to overdo how good you actually are with the proof behind the stories, okay? And also the brag book is very helpful too, because if the brag book you can pull up and look at, it really showcases what's real. Also, use a star format. Now, this is not nothing new, but the star format, it's so simple, but it works, which is any question they ask, when you give them that example, it's situation, task, action, result. What was the situation? What was the task at hand? What was the action? What was the result? And the way you want to really think about this is for every situation you have to imagine it's like a movie or a story that you are telling. What was the situation? What was the big obstacle or task you had to overcome? What did you do exactly? And what was the result? And that's how you hook people into the story, but also the example. So you really should have, ideally, 10, 15, 20 different examples that can showcase different skill sets that's required in that role to really illustrate how good you are specifically in those things. Okay? Next one. You really want to focus on specific things that are really, really important to them. So whatever you find on their job, if you're looking here, say for example at Prelay, they're probably going to ask you some questions about your ability to work under pressure, to adapt. They may ask some questions about strategic thinking. So what are some examples you can show? If they say, hey, give me an example of intellectual curiosity, how are you going to showcase that, right? So those are some hints right there you can really think about. But also, even if they don't bring it up specifically, in the questions they ask you, focus on what you've already uncovered. So if they say, hey, how good are you at, I don't know, working under pressure, right? Okay. Give a really specific example, but really tie it to specific things you see on here. Because they're basically trying to look for these answers, right? So show them why it's not an objection, okay? For example, if it's an enterprise AE role, They only use examples that are enterprise AE specific. So if you're talking about how you close a deal for $6,000, they're gonna be like, that's cool, that's great. But what they want to know is, can you excel in the role? Again, go back to those two things they want, right? Next, have prepared really detailed questions you really want to know that also show you did your homework. So the mistake some people make is they have really generic questions. They say something like, what's a typical day in the life like? Now you may want to know that, but those aren't the go-tos you want to start with. That's a very generic question. You want to go like hyper specific and go detailed. So whatever research you found that you do want to uncover, it's important to you, you want to dig in deeper. Like let's say, for example, for you, what's really important is company culture. So you might a great question to ask. Hey, listen, so for me, company culture is really, really important. If you had to describe your culture in say, 2 or 3 words, how would you describe it? Now you get to think a little bit. When you reflect back on the past year, what was your turnover rate like? If they tell you, cool. How a follow up, cool. What do you think? What do you think caused that low turnover rate? What did you do specifically? Now they're like, wow, this person's really diving in deep, right? So again, make sure you're preparing for those type of questions, right? And of course, make sure you close the interview. You have to close the interview. Like if you don't close the interview, you're in a sales role. You have to close the interview. And don't do some weak close, which is like, oh, hey, what are next steps? Yeah, you want to know that, but that's not a close, right? You want to be able to convey that you are the absolute best fit, right? And that might sound something like, hey, Marcus, first off, I really, really enjoyed our time today. Hey, based on what we discussed, based on everything you talked about today, I'm 100% confident I'm a perfect fit for this founding accounting executive role at Prelay. Do you have any questions or concerns that hold you back from making me an offer? Stop and wait. See what they say, okay? And from there, it's again, how you do is really important. Notice the confidence I'm doing that with, right? And I'm backing everything I've said it before. And then whatever they tell you, if there are objections, overcome the objections. Dig in deep, overcome them. Oh, I'm not sure about your background. Don't be like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. No. Dig in deep. What about the background? What exactly was it? Overcome it, neutralize it. Make sure it's no longer an objection. Because if you don't neutralize before you leave, that will fester in their mind and they'll go to somebody else. Okay, so overcome all the objections. Now, post-interview. So now you want to follow up, right? So you follow up. It could be with a thank you note, right? Handwritten notes definitely more impactful if you can make that work. Sometimes I know it's not possible depending on situation, but having a follow-up is very, very important as well. So this way, it really showcases that it's clearly you have good etiquette and sales etiquette and how you run everything. Okay, very important. Obviously, check your handwriting and everything else. Bonus strategy. So leveraging content. Now, this is a really powerful way to really help you as well. Because here's the thing. So far, I have not talked about posting content or doing anything like that. But where the attention goes, money and jobs flow. I'm gonna say it again. Where the attention goes, money and jobs flow. That's just what happens. And when you are posting content consistently, this helps build the know, like, and trust factor through consistent content. This could be a mixture of videos, text, etc. So go back to, let's just say, the Gabriella example. So you go and you prospect her. She accepts that. She sees the video, doesn't respond to you, but she checks you out. She looks at your profile, and she can see some videos you posted, some content. This gives her a really good feel now of who you are as a person, right? Are you the IEP? Do they know you, like you, trust? Do they like the way you articulate ideas? Are you showcasing some of these core things they are looking for as a result? Or are you just like everybody else? So this is a very powerful way to be able to use content to help you. Now, it's not necessary, but it can really bring you more exposure and opportunities when you do it. Now, something else that can really help you as well is, say, for example, maybe, you're on the market. You could also post a video announcing you're on the market, a short, simple video that you're on the market, what you're looking for. And here's the truth. People inherently want to help. And you'll see people will just comment, just say, hey, listen, just comment for exposure. And your goal is just to get eyeballs on it because there are open requisitions out there, like I mentioned, and they're looking for people that are willing to put themselves out there and be different. And you are being different as a result. Like I look at some of the people I've seen on LinkedIn who have been able to get jobs very quickly, Some of them, like they're literally just posting content. They're not doing something the other strategy, but they're posting content. They're capturing attention, and they're getting people reaching out saying, "Hey, listen, I want to hire you. I see you're looking." Okay, so it can be really important. So here's a couple case studies here, right? So for example, these are a couple of my clients here, but Aisha here last year, she got she's in the UK, she got let go during the pandemic, right? She did everything I mentioned up here. She posted she posted videos, she posted content, and she did everything else I mentioned. Within 2 months, secures an awesome 6-figure job. Boom. Okay? That's what happens. Tanya, another great example. Tanya, high performer as well, and she got let go in the pandemic as well. They let go all these people. Top performer. Did exactly what we discussed here. She ended up securing 3 job offers, 3 awesome job offers. One was 180K OTE, another one was 200K OTE, and the final one was 316K OT. These are all 6-figure base salary. They're 130 up to 175K base salary roles. All right. And she also took the one that was the most, 316, because good company and everything else, right? And she did all that within 3 months. All right. So this stuff does work. It's not easy to do, but it does stand out. Remember, if it's hard to do, no one's going to do it. So when you do it, you stand out. It's very powerful. Okay. So as a quick summary, break through the noise. Break through the noise, right? You notice that's the whole theme right here is you break through the noise. You're being proactive, all right? You are not just applying and hoping to get something. You are capturing attention, getting interest, and then putting yourself in a position to stand out when you do actually apply. Also, the separations and the preparation. So some of these things, they just take a little bit of preparation, and that preparation can really make you stand out. The next is run like a sales process. Run like a sales process, right? The more effective you are running a sales process, the more effective you are finding a job, right? It's all you're doing is securing a 6-figure, multi-6-figure opportunity. That's all you're doing. And the best way to get a better job is to be the best at your current job. All right, that's really what it breaks down to. So next steps, a couple of things. Number one, if you want help to be the best, obviously you can apply to work with me here by going to sixfiguresalesacademy.com/go, because in addition to help my people in my program absolutely crush it, I do get questions because once they're crushing it, they're getting interviewed for better jobs. And for example, this is a couple weeks ago, one of the questions we covered here in the coaching call was how to do a mock pitch in an interview, how to bring the energy in an interview. We've had ones where let's take a look. I think it's here. Account reviews, how to actually prioritize accounts. What do you say? How do you do it? Etc. Right. So these things we can definitely help as well. Now, of course, this guide as well. If you want to copy this guide, go ahead and comment guide below, and my team will direct message this to you. So we covered a lot today. Just like anything else, those who take action are the ones who get the fastest results, right? So these are things, if you commit to doing these consistently, you'll get a fast result, and you'll expect a faster result. And the better you are doing it, the better jobs you're going to get, the better everything you're going to get. So hope you found this helpful. Thank you so much for watching this, and go get them. Woo! Yes, I know. That was a doozy of a training, a lot compacted into about 45 minutes there. So hopefully you took lots of notes. Hopefully you can go execute right now. And of course, if you enjoyed this so far, make sure to hit that like button and let me know in the comments below what stood out the most for you. What was your biggest takeaway? And of course, if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe and keep watching some of these videos here, because that really helps me and motivates me to create more great content to help you be phenomenal at sales. Thank you so much for watching. Have an absolutely amazing day.